For those of you I have not had the pleasure of talking to for a few minutes this morning, my name is Dave Knox. I am the director and the operator of the website banddirector.com. And we are here today, and I want to thank you for inviting us to be here. We're streaming today's concert or rehearsal on the internet for everybody to watch and listen to. And what a wonderful opportunity it is to be able to share today's rehearsal with all of the folks that are tuning in to listen to inspire them to play, to enjoy the concert and the rehearsal this afternoon. And I'd like to thank Michelle Kalo for initiating the invitation for us to be here. I'm coming from Michigan, and it's nice to get out of the snow and cold to be here in sunny Arizona. And the videos will be edited so you can watch it at a later time. And I invite you all to log on to the website because there's a wealth of information, concerts and videos from universities, middle schools, high schools, professional artists from all over the world on there for your enjoyment.
We're in that last category here.
And I'd like to also take a moment to thank Jupiter Band Instruments. They have been very generous in supporting us and making it possible to be in many locations around the country to be here to do these types of events. So I'd like to thank Jupiter. And then now I'd like to turn it over to Michelle Kalo, one of your conductors today, and I just want to have a few minutes here so we can share to our online audience what you are doing here and part of the 20th anniversary tour stop here in Phoenix for New Horizons Music. So thank you for letting me be a part of that, and we'll be enjoying that. So Michelle, thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. How's everybody today? Woo, we're really excited. So 4 years ago, I started the Mesa Band, and before that, I was doing my master's at ASU, and I met a fellow named Sam Sugawa who was coming to the Desert Foothills Band and would tell us all about how awesome this organization was, and I had never heard of it before, unfortunately. And so I went online to the New Horizons website, to the NEMA website, and I learned all about it. And I was totally inspired by the man who sits next to me, Roy Ernst, who said, we were chatting earlier, and he said that he was thinking about this for probably 5-6 years in the 80s, and he asked me if I was born yet, which I was, and just a couple years. And then I was just completely moved by the story because I was thinking about, you know, if you don't join band when you're in 5th or 6th grade, when do you ever have a chance to do that again? And we're one of the very few arts that we never have another chance. And when I heard about an organization that, you know, I'd always had this philosophy of lifelong learning, and I always said that, and now here was an organization that I could really put, you know, that to work. And so I thought this was a really great idea. And now that I live in Phoenix, well, there are a wealth of folks who are 50 and up in our town. So I was like, well, I know I'm going to be able to have a band, but none of us would be here today if it wasn't for Roy's great idea and to start it 20 years ago and to see this all come to fruition and now to have a national tour as part of this celebration. What a wonderful way to do that. So without further ado, I give you Mr. Roy Ernst.
Well, I want to just tell you a little bit of history of the New Horizons Band. 20 years ago, right around this time, we were probably having our 3rd rehearsal and making those sounds that only a music teacher can love. It is what separates music teachers from other musicians. I mean, we hear that and we think, oh, wow, this is really something. We can do something with this. And other people just want to escape. So we were hearing that kind of sound then and having a great time. We had something special going for us at that time that you can't have anymore. Low expectations. So that when we did something, it was generally thought at that time that older people would not be able to learn to read music and play an instrument. Can you believe that? And so when we did things, people were, oh, that's amazing, you know, how nice it is. And I remember our first concerts were quite short because we couldn't play that much. And people would say, that's it? And I would say, remember, we're the band that knows when to stop. Okay. We had only been going about 5 weeks and a reporter from the New York Times showed up to do a story on the band, because this was a new thing. So we had a photo story in the New York Times. The next week, the Today Show wanted to come out and do a story on us, and we had a very, very nice story on the Today Show. So it was always very easy to get publicity for this. When that reporter from the Times came out, there are a couple people in this room who were part of the band. Alan and Nancy. Am I missing anyone else? Alan Newman was part of that band. And, you know, I remember Alan playing his first notes, and I thought, maybe this isn't going to work, you know? Sorry about that, Alan. But after a few weeks, everybody had been playing in their own separate rooms, clarinets here, trumpets there, trombones there, and so forth. And this reporter said, I've got a photographer. The room was kind of like this. And he said, I would like a picture of the whole band together. So I brought all those people out and got them set up like this. And the photographer was up in the balcony taking pictures. And I said, since we're all here, I'd like us to play our first piece together. And they're thinking, well, how could we do that? Because we've been all playing different pieces. And I said, well, everybody, you just play your favorite piece. And so I started conducting, and they're all playing along. I'm being very expressive. I give a release. Who knows what that photographer was thinking, you know? I give a release. Someone says, Roy, is that the first time you've ever conducted? So we had a very, very good time. And I want to tell you about, a few years later, I came out to Phoenix for a meeting at ASU to talk to them about having a New Horizons band. I had persuaded the music industry that it would be in their best interest to fund me so I could travel around the country on their expense account, unlimited, talking to people about New Horizons bands. And so I was a little bit like Harold Hill for a while. Folks, we got trouble right here in Phoenix. Well, I came out to Phoenix to do that, and I don't know, the people at the university could only find reasons why they couldn't do this. Oh, the parking's going to be really hard for us, and this doesn't work, and so forth. And I thought, this isn't going to work. But Ron Phillips was at that meeting. And Ron said, I'd like to do this.
I did?
Yes, you did. I remember this very clearly. And so I worked with Ron. And if it hadn't been for Ron, there wouldn't be a New Horizons band here. So this is the person to thank for this. And then Mesa had a New Horizons band, but there was a conflict, which I won't go into. It's never good to go into the details of this. But it got off to a pretty good start, and then it crashed. And I thought, that's it for Mesa. And then Michelle came along, and talk about the right person at the right time. To my great, wonderful surprise, Mesa now has a New Horizons band. Many thanks to Michelle for joining me. One of the good things that happened about 10 years ago, I'm not good at dates at all, as my wife Pat could tell you. About 10 years ago, we started a board of directors. And the board of directors does everything for us now. I'm the advisor to the board, but they really do everything. We have about 30 groups now that are in the planning stage for New Horizons. We have about 180 New Horizons groups, about 30 that are in the planning stage, and the board of directors provides support for them. They make it possible for all of us to communicate so we know what's happening. We're bringing people here from other countries. We have a grant to do that. so they can go back to their own countries, Italy, South Africa, New Zealand, Australia, England, and hopefully start New Horizons Band. The board does all of this. And I want all the people who are present or past members of the board to stand up so we can thank you. There are a few here. Look around. So I just want to say it's, you can't imagine how much it means to me to see all of you, because I remember that first meeting, you know, and in so many of those cases I can remember, first of all, going to town and then having a meeting and getting people interested, helping them pick the right people to do it. Very often they would say, what should we be looking for in a director? And I would say, try to find someone who's deaf. I don't know why I had to say that, but I just like the looks on their face so much. But of course, it takes a very skillful teacher, a good musician, and someone who sees music as a way of serving other people instead of gathering an audience together so they can appreciate how wonderful I am, you know, when I play my instrument. And so that narrows it down to a very small group of prospective teachers. And that's why sometimes it takes a long time for a New Horizons program to start, because people can't find that teacher. Like someone said to me last spring, how come there isn't a New Horizons band in Toronto? They haven't been able to find that teacher yet. And I think they have now. They've just started. But, I mean, they've been trying to get the right person and get it started for a long time. So that's what I have to say. I'm really looking forward to this. And for myself and for my wife, Pat, one of the great joys is the people we have gotten to meet through New Horizons. My best friends are people in this room, you know, who I wouldn't have known otherwise except through New Horizons. And one of those is Joan Cantor. Joan and I have some interesting stories to tell. We were both on the verge of winding up in an Australian jail because of events one New Year's Eve. We kind of crashed into the Sydney Opera House and got thrown out a couple times before we actually did make it to the big reception, you know, without tickets, which was such a thrill to us. But Joan has had a lot to do with organizing this, and as I'm looking at all the things that have happened, I know other people have also, so thank you to everyone who's organized this, and I want to especially thank Joan and ask Joan to say a couple words. Joan?
We are so happy to have all of you here for the 20th anniversary, and we're just delighted to have Roy with us, and now you know why. He is truly the Pied Piper of New Horizons, and it's just been marvelous getting to know Roy and all the people involved over, I think, about 15 years now. I've been asked to tell a little bit about my background, which is not that different from all of you. It could be any one of you, but I started out playing piano, quite a bit of piano as a child. That's a pretty lonely life. And I wanted to play percussion. I wanted to play drums, and that's so long ago, I don't even want to think about it, but I was told girls don't do that back in those days. So I never got to play percussion, and when I finally retired from my day job, they started the 4th New Horizons band in Iowa City, Iowa, where I lived at that time. And here was my chance, and so I started playing percussion, fell in love with it, and really put a lot into it. It almost became a second career for me, and I have just had tremendous joy not only playing with the bands that I have played with, but going to band camps all over the world, actually, and including Australia and a lot of places in the United States. And for those of you who haven't been to a band camp, by all means, you must go. It is more fun than anything. My closest friends today are people I met in band, and just the joy of making music together is more than I can really say. So that's my story, and I would like now to turn I do have some people to thank, and let me do that. You've met all the directors now. So Richard Saunders, are you here? Yeah. Richard conducted the jazz band this morning, and it was great. Stand up, Richard. That was more fun. I even got to play the piano for the jazz band for the first time. I also had a group of people helping out who did a tremendous amount of work getting this ready. And I'm going to call all their names. Save your applause, and will they all stand as I call your name? Patty Cassis, Juanita Kuster, Artis Phillips, Shirley Phillips. Who's standing? I'm waiting for you to stand. Oh, they're all in the back. Artis, you're not standing. Pat Stacy, Nancy Wambacher. Thank you all for doing a marvelous job. And there is someone else that we really want to thank. This is such a marvelous facility, I don't have to tell you. We are so lucky to be in this church. And the Crosswinds Presbyterian Church has just opened their doors and their hearts to us, and we love it here. And the pastor is Michael Hartwell. Where are you, Michael? Please stand up. Thank you so much. Other than that, let the fun begin, and I'm going to turn this over to Ron Phillips.
We're going to get ahead of here.
Are we ready? Okay. Hi, my name is Dixie Johnson. I live in Apache Junction, Arizona. I want to say hello to a couple of my New Horizon friends, one in Iowa, Linda Fisher, and Corrine Erickson in Ohio. We are all members of the Women of the Air Force Band, and we meet once a year in reunion. We're going to come to Mesa this year, but in the meantime, we have to go somewhere to keep up our musical skills because we only meet once a year as the Air Force Band. So we, as many of us possible and who have New Horizon bands, are in New Horizon Band. It's a wonderful way to refresh our memories on how to play a lot of things and to keep our skills up. Keep on going. Well, let's see. I play in the Mesa City Band also, and like I think most of my WAF band sisters, and we are the women of the Air Force now, we play all across the country in community bands, and without them we would not be able to retain our skills. Many of us put our instruments away after we got out of the Air Force, and put them away for many, many years. For personally, what happened to me is I went to college in California, and they wouldn't let me play in the band because I was a woman. So I put it away for about 50 years. And in 1997, a couple of the former WAF band members put together the first reunion. We hadn't been able to get together because so many of them got married and changed their names, so we lost track of each other. And I don't know what that, okay. And so we had our first reunion in 97, and in 98, I reorganized the band and became its first president. And I reorganized it as the Women of the Air Force as opposed to in the Air Force. And we've been having reunions ever since. We normally play a VA hospital or a VA retirement home, something that has to do with veterans, and one public concert. And we've been doing this since 1998. And it's a wonder. This is a wonderful get together here. We have two bands here in Mesa, and I'm not sure what the other town is here in Arizona, but these two bands have gotten together, and we're all playing together for the first time. And I think we're all having a lot of fun. Thank you.
I'm Janet Raleigh, and I'm from Iowa City, Iowa, and I'm one of a few here today who has just coming to sit in. And my husband and I were traveling, visiting children and from Tucson, and now we're here. And I thought, what a wonderful opportunity to be a part of a rehearsal of a couple of bands that I'm not familiar with. I am a retired elementary music teacher, but not an instrumental person particularly. I was a voice person, and as a child I started the piano lessons early and then progressed to the cornet and then progressed to singing in junior high and high school as well as playing an instrument, and enjoyed all of them but went more down the singing path. And so I'm one of those, like many in these New Horizons bands, who had not played their instrument in 40 years. And it's a wonderful experience to come back to playing your instrument, and the French horn is absolutely the best. So, it's always nice to play the best instrument. And so it's just a very enjoyable experience. And if any people listening have this opportunity, they should do it. Because I'll tell you, I just am so happy when it's the mornings that I'm getting up and having a rehearsal. Not only do I have rehearsals for our band in Iowa City, but I play in 2 or 3 small groups, and so on other days of the week I get to play in those, and it's just the best when I have a rehearsal that particular day. So I encourage everyone to get into this activity.
I was sent up to second that motion, that it is the most fun you will ever have. In fact, I said that after my first band rehearsal. I went home and said to my husband, "This is the most fun I've had since high school." And he said, "Thanks a lot." So don't say that to your spouse, but it is just so fun, and you meet great people all over the world. I have friends all over the United States and Canada that I never would have met if I hadn't played in the band. And we play in the same band.
Yes.
Most of the year. And then
not only the best band, not best instrument, but the best band.
So no. I play the second best instrument.
Just teasing. Okay.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Bobbi Newland, and I have never played any kind of a musical instrument, and I started with New Horizons Band when I was like 69, 68 years old, and because it was on my bucket list to finally play in a band. So I took up drums, and I've been playing with the New Horizon Band now for about 4 years, and I'm really, really enjoying it. It's the highlight of my week.
Nancy and myself joined the New Horizon Band 20 years ago in Rochester, New York, and we both were in the band during the first year. We have individual stories as to how this occurred. My particular story would take you half a day, but I'm going to make it short because Nancy would be far more interesting. I was practicing law when I was asked to go to the first meeting that was advertised by Roy Ernst. I did so and continued on even though I didn't have time. But once I started, I found that I was able to share it with my practice. When I first came in, I had never played a musical instrument, and I was naive enough to think that I could pick it up right away. And of course, that wasn't the case. They literally taught me and showed me when I first walked in as to how to put the mouthpiece into the trumpet. And then for the following week, I just blew into my hand. After I got through that, I put my mouthpiece into the trumpet, blew it, got a wonderful sound, at which point one of my cats came and scratched me on the leg, and the other cat came and ran into the basement. And that was the beginning of my musical career, and I've been going on ever since.
I was a bit later in the band, a few months after Alan. I knew Roy before that, and he kept saying, "Why don't you dust off your clarinet and come and play with the band?" And I was rather busy, and I thought, I'm not going to be able to do this. But eventually, I took my clarinet that I had had from high school and took it to a music store, and they took a look at it, and they said, "Maybe you should make a lamp from this."
So I ended up buying a student clarinet, and I started practicing a little bit. I thought that it would be really easy because I had played clarinet in band, and I was quite good. I played saxophone, tenor, and alto in a dance band. I could transpose, I could do everything. Well, I put the clarinet in my mouth, and it was terrible. I had no embouchure left. The saliva was running down my cheeks. And finally, after probably 3 months, I could play scales and 3 sharps and 3 flats, a couple octaves. And I took my clarinet and went to the band with great trepidation. I thought, I'll be the worst one here. And then as I was walking into the hall where we practiced, there was a lady who was probably 20 years older than I was, walking with a trombone. And I said to her, how long have you been playing? And she said, 3 months. And I thought, well, can't be too bad then. So I went in. Unfortunately, I was one of the best ones. There was one other clarinet that was better than I was, and I wasn't very good, so you can imagine how the band was. We played a lot. We used to go to nursing homes a lot and play, and we would all make bets on whether we would wake up the patients that were listening to us. Do you remember that, Alan?
I do know, if I could
Yeah.
add, that we had to take the Star Spangled Banner off of our list of music because nobody could stand up.
Anyway, the band as we played, I probably played in that band for 5 years. And we did get better, and as we got better, better people joined the band. So we had some really good players by the end of 5 years, don't you think? That was.
I think so.
So then I moved to Arizona, and I live in Tucson, and we have no New Horizons band there. Did you get any of this? I moved to Arizona, Tucson, and we have no New Horizons band there. So I did join another band called the Arizona Symphonic Winds, but I still go to the band camps occasionally, and I've made wonderful friends through this band. So thank you.
Let me just add to conclude, this whole New Horizon movement gave both of us the opportunity to play a musical instrument, and it's something we never would have done, and we're very grateful for what occurred, and it just transformed both of us, and we've been enjoying it ever since.
I'm Iris,
My name is Mike Othrow.
and we play with the New Horizons Band.
How about that?
And we play with a band in Madison, Wisconsin. And when we're in Arizona, we play with the Mesa Sonic Seniors.
And the Desert Foothills Band in the north side of Phoenix.
I started playing with New Horizons back in 1992. Mike and I lost our home after a tornado, and
I don't know what. Keep going. Yeah.
And we were going through a period of depression, and I heard about Roy Ernst organizing or starting a New Horizons band in Madison, Wisconsin. And I said to my husband, I want to do this. I need to do this just for me, something that's completely different from anything else that I do. And I went to their rehearsal, and I got an instrument and started playing in 1992. I had played baritone horn in high school. I graduated from high school in 1957 and hadn't touched horns until 1992.
Yeah, the funny thing was, too, that while she was doing all of this, I was a very ardent fly fisher and fly tyer and traveling around the country fly fishing, and they happened to have a band camp, I think the year after Iris started playing in Snowmass, and I saw the opportunity to fish the Frying Pan and the Roaring Fork and a lot of great rivers in Colorado. So off I went. And
to band camp with me.
I went to band camp with Iris, and I saw that she was having far too much fun to be leaving me out of it. So a year or so later, I started playing. I had never read music, had never played an instrument, and the New Horizons folks taught me how to read music and how to play. and it wasn't long, and I moved right up the ranks and was doing solos with our jazz band in Madison and playing first trombone in a group that's the second oldest New Horizons group in the country.
And we continue to enjoy playing with bands around the country and going to music camps as a couple. It's been a really great activity, and we've made
something we can do together.
And we've made tons of friends, really good friends, in all of the band groups.
So we've had a great time with New Horizons bands, and we urge other people who have perhaps relationships like ours to take a look at music for their life.